Food waste. Why food waste is such a problematic towards our environment and society? Here is John Oliver has a word on food waste.
And we all have to address our relationship with food waste, or at the very least, our cheeseburger commercials are going to have to get a lot more honest.
What's more American than a cheeseburger? This cheeseburger, loaded with a hot dog and potato chips, in the hands of a model, in a hot tub, in a pickup truck, on an aircraft carrier, in front of the Statue of Liberty. I'll tell you what's more American. If that cheeseburger's then thrown away, along with 15 other cheeseburgers, in front of a food-insecure family of 4 who frankly cannot believe their eyes as they stand on top of 14 tons of perfectly edible, if aesthetically unappealing fruits and vegetables, which in turn sits on top of 80 tons of dairy products, all one day past their arbitrary sell-by date, all of which sits inside a tear rolling down Abraham Lincoln's face on Mount Rushmore, which is now nearly chin deep in millions of discarded cheeseburgers, all gradually decomposing and emitting flammable methane in red, white, and blue. That is American. Available on dumpsters behind.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is what will happen when 40% of food produced in the US never gets eaten. Now, we're not only concerned about food waste in America. We know that the food waste in America can cover up almost the whole Mount Rushmore. But then, we're concerning about the whole world's food waste. The damage will 10 times worsen than what appears in the video. And this is why we have to utilize those food waste to something useful. Firstly, now let's see how it impacts our environment. First, why we need to reduce the food waste? The food waste impacts towards 3 sectors. Firstly, how it can consume arable land. We can see how it equivalents to 2 basketball courts. Not only arable land, secondly, it takes about 2,054 kilocalories a day. Not only that, the third part is it takes the fresh water that equals to 1.5 liters per bottle. Ridiculously, those facts are even produced by a single person. Now, let's be realistic. There are 7.3 billion population live in this world and producing food waste every day. Then, we can see the amount of water, land, and kilocalorie wasted every year will billion times worse than the table has shown us.
Next, our problem is environmental issue. We know it as global warming. Global warming is the rise in global heat due to the increase of the greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide is a major factor in these gases, and the fact is food waste is on the 3rd place that produces carbon dioxide after China and the US.
The third problem that we're going to solve is relying on what people use daily. It's undeniable that plastic is crucially essential to our life. Other than its use as a plastic surgery, but there are some other uses that could be very essential and important to human life. For example, we can see how plastic is used mostly as a plastic bags, umbrella, and usually people use plastic because it's water resistant, cheaper, and also other factors that make plastic is so popular in our society. But the problem is, plastic is very harmful to our environment, and therefore we have to find a replacement that has the same use as plastics but more eco-friendly. From those 3 problems that we have mentioned, we are proud to give you our solution, which is starch-based bioplastics. We have covered up all 3 problems that is now happening in our society, which is first, how food waste can take up arable lands, or second one, how it's global warming, and the third one, how to cover up all those items that is needed in our society nowadays. And therefore, in this presentation, you're going to see why bioplastics can solve those 3 problems, which is going to be covered in how our proposal, and the second one, mechanism, and later on we're going to check it in conclusion why dissolving all those 3 problems.
Now we're talking about the proposal. What is exactly starch-based bioplastic? It is plastic that is designed to biodegrade. It can break down in either anaerobic or aerobic environments within 90 to 180 days, depending on how the plastic is manufactured. From this bioplastic, we could produce plastic bottle that is useful for humans. This bioplastic is made from starch. Extracted from plants contains carbohydrates such as wheat, rice, corn, and potatoes. The difference between regular plastic and bioplastic is it's more environmental friendly because it's biodegradable, and 1 metric tons bioplastic generates 1.8 to 3.2 fewer metric tons of carbon dioxide, so it doesn't cause global warming. The structure of bioplastic is more flexible. It can stand higher temperature and use less energy compared to the regular one. So why we choose potatoes? Based on our research, potatoes, as one of the carbohydrate sources, are the most wasted food in the past few years. The second reason is we can see that the average ratio of starch we could extract from potato for a day is 87%, which is greater than any other plant. So, to reduce food waste efficiently, we decided to use potatoes to make our products. Where is the strategic place to make it? Basically, we are searching for countries with the biggest number in potato waste, and we found that China is one of them. China is a strategic place for business, and the land is relatively cheap to build a factory than Europe or USA, which are also producing huge amount of potatoes. Another advantage is we could recruit workers easily, since the China population is very large. For the cost, bioplastic is cheaper because of the raw material we use. The cost for workers, machines, lands, electricity, and distribution are basically the same with the cost production of regular plastic. In conclusion, the rough profit we got from the raw material is $785 per year. For the amount, we could distribute and export around 50 billion bottles in a year.
Now, I'll take you through the process of extracting starch from raw potato waste.
The potato waste are first transported from the farms and supermarkets to the starch production factories via trucks. Then, they are stored in the warehouse. When the amount of potatoes are of a considerable amount, they are batch processed to make the starch. The raw materials then go through a process of cleaning where they are first washed under a jet of water and then are dried using elevators and keepers inside the machine. Most often, the rasping of potato tubers is carried out with the rotary grater. The purpose of this stage is the destruction of cell walls, which therefore release the starch. In practice, potato cells are not entirely destroyed. In the centrifugation chamber, full value protein from juice is recovered from the raw starch milk. Raw starch milk is then purified in the refining process. This involves the sieving of small fibers from the starch milk. Next, the raw starch milk is concentrated and the onerousness of water juice as a sludge is reduced. At this point, stream-oriented washers are used. In these machines, pulp diluted with water is washed with a strong stream of water to flush out the milk starch. The starch milk is then collected and stored to batch process them into the powdered starch. At this point, we still need to remove 20% of the moisture before we get our desired product. Drying is often carried out in 2 steps. The first includes using a rotary vacuum filter, which removes the excess water. The second step includes the pneumatic dryer, which removes any moisture present in the starch using hot air. Finally, the powdered starch is stored separately in silos, in jute bags or paper bags, ready for distribution.
A major aspect of our starch extraction process has yet not been discussed. What should we do to our waste products from the starch extraction process? We have seen that we separate small fibers from the starch milk and full value proteins from the juice. From our research, we have found that fibers can be used as an animal feed. Firstly, the fibers are dehydrated, packaged into sacks and sold to animal farms. The same can be done to the potato proteins. They are collected as liquids in a chamber, packaged into barrels or bottles, and could be used and sold to farmers as fertilizers.
In this part, I'm gonna explain how we are going to convert starch into plastic bottle. We are going to divide this part into two subparts. The first part is converting starch into bioplastic. The newly made starch is sensitive to the water. Therefore, we need to increase its moisture by adding three substances. The first substance we are going to add is water, with a composition of 4 grams of potato starch with 22 centimeter cubics of distilled water. The second substance we are going to add is hydrochloric acid, with a composition of 3 centimeter cubics. It breaks down the amylopectin that inhibits the formation of the film. So by adding this substance, we make a more satisfactory bioplastic. The third substance and the most important substance we are going to add is glycerol, with a composition of 2 centimeter cubics because the glycerol takes part as a plasticizer. After adding those three substances, we are going to heat it until 95 degrees Celsius, and we have to make sure that it is boiled gently for 10 minutes. In addition of adding the hydrochloric acid, it will make the starch acid. So we need to add 3 centimeter cubics of sodium hydroxide to neutralize it. The final part is to put the mixture in the pneumatic dryer, which results in the production of bioplastic. We are moving to the second subpart, which is converting bioplastics to become plastic bottle. In this part, the mechanism applied will be 2 stages of injection process. To do the first step, we are making the preformed bottle, which is by injection. In this first process, which is a injection process, is done to make a bottle preform. A machine with an extruder with a screw inside compresses the bioplastic mix and injects the nearly molten material into molds. The mold produces a bottle preform, which is known as a parison. The parison looks like a thick-walled test tube. In this video, the red substances represent the starch that has been mixed with glycerol and hydrochloric acid. The blue substances represent the water that has been explained before. The step 2 is the making of the plastic bottle. In this part, we are gonna use the stretch blow process. Basically, a long needle pushed up through the preform, which is suspended with the screw and facing downwards. It will stretch the preform upward toward the top of the mold. It will also blast enough pressurized air into the preform, which will force the preform against the side of the mold. This is the size of the mold, and will have to be done quickly in order to maintain the ball's integrity and the consistent shape. The final part will consist of cooling of the bottle, or it will lose its shapes when gravity causes it to creep downwards in its malleable, heated state. It can be done by circulating cold water or liquid nitrogen through the mold, or a shot of air at room temperature.
Now we have given you the explanation of our proposal and our mechanism exactly. Now let's go at the last part of our presentation, which is in conclusion. First, let's take a look back at our problem at the first place. How about the environmental? By utilizing the food waste, we can gain the land that was consumed before to store those wastages. We can, by utilizing those food waste, that means the land that's supposed to be storing the food waste could be used for other land, other useful things. And secondly, about the global warming. Simply logic. Without having food waste, there is no more carbon dioxide emitted by the food waste, then that means we can simply reduce the chance of global warming getting worsened day by day. And lastly, do people still get those daily needs? Yes, we can still provide them with many things. Even like better things that have better use also have more eco-friendly, which is bioplastics. And bioplastic, we have proven to you that it is far more effective and efficient rather than normal plastics. Now, why bioplastics could be popular in our society? Firstly, it can be more cheaper, or we can give a cheaper price than the normal plastics. As my friend has explained to you why it has cheaper price rather than plastic. And also, the second thing, there are a lot of excess of bioplastics, such as it's more eco-friendly because it generates fewer of carbon dioxide, and also it doesn't contain any harmful materials such as bisphenol. In conclusion, we have proven you the feasibility and the mechanism of starch-based bioplastics. To end this presentation, to make a world a better place to live, we are proud to propose.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, next.
So the first part is that okay, basically here is John Oliver has to say. Basically this John Oliver. See camera.
Starch from raw potato waste.
See no camera. Who's knocking the door?